is 1990 Endura 1. We're now present day 2011 and going on 12 here actually. Endura 4. So we've got the fourth iteration out for us consumers. Now what that means is that Spidey has had a long time to make improvements on this and change it. Now a lot of times when companies want to change something of their product, it doesn't turn out very well, such as you look at some of the guns, you look at these knives, you look at, I mean anything really. I mean, look at Windows, the operating system, okay, Vista. Need I say any more? Sometimes they're trying to make something better and it just turns out absolutely worse. With this Spyderco, that is not the case. I really like the Endura 4. It's a blade that I'm glad to have in my small but growing inventory. Let's talk about it. Blade steel on this is your VG10, and I found I really like that type of steel. Reason being is it holds an edge well, it takes an edge well, and it is very rust resistant in my experience. This particular blade, if you look at the edge there, look at this side, how nice and uniform that is. Very nice. A little bit of an issue going on this side. See the top there, you can kind of see it already starting. Then that edge really widens out. You know, I expect better from Spyderco, but it didn't affect the sharpness of this. When it came out of the box, it was hair shaving sharp. And an important factor to me is, yes, it comes out hair shaving sharp, but can I get it back to that point after I've been using it? And I'm happy to report that with VG10 on this blade, I've been using it quite a bit and I've had to sharpen it repeatedly. And every time I do, I can get it back to that hair shaving sharp. So that VG10 takes an edge well, like I said. Now somebody with my sharpening abilities, that should say a lot. Length. The length of the blade on this is about 3.75 inches. A little bit long. However, I really like this size blade. In fact, I almost prefer this size blade for my EDCs. One of the big reasons for me is when I look at a knife, one of the first things I always think of is self-defense. This goes back to my martial art training days and my knife training days. Now, I'm not going to say I'm a blade fighting expert, but I do have some time under my belt and I certainly have my preferences as to how I like the blade to move and how long I like that blade to be. To me, this is a pretty good compromise because you have enough to reach out and touch somebody if needed, but it's not so overly big that you can't, that it limits yourself to EDC use. The deployment hole on this is 13 millimeters or ½ inch, and that's a nice size deployment hole. One of the things too that you'll notice getting to that deployment hole, you can kind of see, you can see how it's beveled down to that deployment hole, and yes, that's on both sides. So it makes it a little bit easier to get down there. Some knives you'll find with the thumb studs or the hole, there's just not a lot of room to get down there and it makes it tough to get in there and deploy. This is not the case with your bevel and that size deployment hole. It's nice. So coming down inside, there's your deployment. What I find about the deployment is it is quite a bit slower than most of my knives. And so that was a little disappointment for me. However, it's not bad enough that it's a deal breaker. In fact, it's just one of those things that you quickly adjust to and then you don't even notice it unless you're going from knife to knife. So for me, it'd be nice if it was a little bit faster, but honestly, it's not that big a deal whatsoever. Lockup on this blade is very nice. You've got little teeny movement left to right. In fact, most blades will move just a hair. And front to back, you've got nothing at all. So the lockup on this is very nice. Handle material. This is the FRN handle material, the fiberglass reinforced nylon. When at first I saw these, I didn't like them. Now notice when I said saw them, not handled them. That's why I picked up the Dragonfly 2, is I wanted to give the FRN handle a chance and also the VG10. When I first got this, I thought, ooh man, that is some nice traction on there. I was really happy with it. And the Endura, that doesn't disappoint either. I really like the bidirectional texturing that they have on here. It works very well. Also, look at their emblem, the Spyderco Endura 4 emblem. Notice where it's positioned on the handle as we flip it over and look at the clip. So that's where it's going to be riding on your pants. So you're going to minimize the wear and tear you do to your pants, as opposed to if this bidirectional texturing would continue under where this clip is going to be hanging onto your pants there. So that's just kind of one of those attention to details that we like to see companies look at. Because to us, or to me at least, that means that they're putting some thought into this knife and it's not just something they're slapping together to get out onto the market. The stainless steel liners inside are skeletonized. You can kind of see them in there. And as a result, this blade is a very, very light 3.6 ounces, especially for the size of blade. Now to some people that really means something. I don't mind the heavier blades, but I certainly don't mind the light ones either, I'll tell you that. Pocket clip, kind of talked about that a little bit before. You will see some wear on this. It doesn't stick out really that far. It's very, very nice. I have yet to see a pocket clip that doesn't wear. That's just what's going to happen to it. I really like the fact that it's black. If you remember my Tenacious, I painted that black specifically. It's just, to me, it stands out a little bit less. I mean, people can still see it, especially with the brown, but I prefer the black pocket clips, and I always have. One thing about shutting this, this is kind of another downside to me. This is purely my opinion and nothing more. But I like the true one-handed operating knives. Now this one, of course, you've got the one-hand deployment, but you've got the lock back, so that's a little hard. What I found is if I choke up, and please be careful doing this or you're going to get bit. I got bit by the Benchmade Group Tillion just tonight, actually, before I did this review. With this blade, see how it has this bottom area right here where you don't have the blade? If I just choke up a little bit with my finger, I can close it that way and I'm fine. Just make sure you keep your fingers out of the way. So do I recommend you do that? No, I don't know. I just don't want anybody to come back and say, hey, I tried that and I cut myself. Well, be careful. But, you know, I played around with it and I got used to it. And so it hasn't become that big of an issue to me. So I could get over it. Not bad at all. Oh, one more thing about the pocket clip. When I'm deploying this, what I use that pocket clip for is kind of an anchor to put my fingers back here and throw it open. Over time, this became very loose. All I did was get some of the blue Loctite, put it in those screws, put it back down in there, and I haven't had a problem since. Price on this blade is about 63 bucks, depending on where you get it from. Where I've been getting my blades lately is from Tim at tacticaldefender.com. I'll put a little link right here, but be careful because going over there, there's a lot of cool stuff on that website and you just might find yourself stuck there for a while because it's kind of a fun one to run around and look at. Got a lot more over there than just blades. But for 60 bucks, 63 bucks, thereabouts, this is a great, great blade. I don't think that's coming to a big surprise. This has been out for a while. You guys have seen a lot of reviews on this. This is just kind of my take on it. I'm trying to go over some of the specs on it, but also give you my experience on it, my like for the blade length. It's a very thin knife, so it carries well in the pocket. Overall, this is a very, very good blade. In fact, when I get new knives, of course I'm excited about it, and I'll carry that knife for some time. But what happens usually is I want to go back to my other knives and just rotate a little bit, because it's kind of fun to do that. With this blade, I had a hard time doing that because it was such a cool blade. So it stayed in my pocket for a long time, and I used it a lot and really enjoy this blade. In fact, I had it out last night carving some wood as we were watching a movie. So if you're looking for a blade, this is great. If this length is a little bit too long to you, the 3 3/4 length, then maybe the Delica is more up your alley. But for me, I like this length, and I prefer this length over the Delica. Just me, just me. So that's it, guys. Done. Thanks for watching. Really like this blade. If you haven't thought about it, think about it. It's a nice one.